Today we will be learning stockinette stitch, which is basically just knitting and purling. You just switch rows. This is the front side, and then the back side looks a little different. It looks like that. And with our pattern that we are using, there is a 3-stitch border of garter. A reminder from last month, in knit, you just stick your needle into that first loop on there, you yarn over, and then pull that loop through, and then drop it off the edge. And then, since this row is going to be a knit row, the next row is going to be a purl row, and I'll show you how to do the purling. And this is right where we left off last month. We just did garter stitch, which is all knit. And the library is open today, so you might hear some background noises, books getting checked out, patrons in the library, and whatnot. So there, I've done one row of knit. Now this row will be purl. So to purl, we're going to take our yarn and make sure it's here in the front. We're going to put our needle into that loop on our left hand, or it would be right hand if you're left-handed. And I do have in the guides information on how to do knitting and crochet if you're left-handed. I found some videos from people that have that kind of experience. I have tried doing left-handed knitting, and I can't seem to master it. It's hard to use your non-dominant hand. So I did a couple purl stitches while I was talking there, but you just stick your needle in, you yarn over, you're gonna kind of scoop it so that that loop stays on this one, and then you'll take and drop the loop from this one off. And you just do that all the way across. And I really struggled with the purl stitch when I first started knitting, so there is no problem if you are having trouble with it. You just want to keep practicing. That's what it took for me. I kept practicing and practicing. And then eventually I kind of found a hand position that worked well for me. Everyone's kind of different on how they want to tension their yarn, which is holding it so that it has the right tension, that you're not getting like super loose loops or too tight of loops. And people differ on how they want to hold their needles too. There's different styles like continental that people like. There's like a lever style. Not really sure what I do, what it's called. I'm guessing I'm more of the continental style, but I have no idea if I'm actually doing that right. And here, I'll stop a second so you can see how the garter had all these bumps in it, and the stockinette, it's got these V's. That's kind of that knit stitch that you're used to seeing when you think of sweaters and that. And you know what I'm not doing that I'm supposed to be doing with our pattern? And the border actually would help us because stockinette stitch likes to kind of curl on itself. So I'm actually gonna take and undo couple rows here. And you can just pull to undo. I'm going to go right back to that beginning where I first purled. Because I was supposed to knit 3 on each side. And then to pick it back up, I'm just going to put my needle through all these loops, being careful not to lose any. See, if you'll try to make mistakes, you can always take it out and start again. So here I go again. I'm going to knit the first 3 and then purl across to the last 3 and knit those last 3. 1, 2, 3. And then to purl, move my yarn to the front, put my needle in to the first loop on my needle, yarn over, pull that right through, and drop that old loop off. And you just keep doing that until you reach the last 3 on your needle. I'm going to put my yarn back to the back and then do 3 knit stitches. And knit stitches, just like last time, you go in, you yarn over, you pull through, and drop it off. So that is our stockinette stitch. And ways to remember where, like if you were to put it down for a little bit and come back to it, if it's this side is showing, this is your right side of your fabric, and that is the side that you will be knitting on. If you happen, and it would be the other needle I'd be on, if you happen to be working from this side, so your yarn would be over here, this is the wrong side of your fabric, and you would be purling into that, plus your 3 knit stitches on each side to get that border. And one thing I will note is that as you're working, you're getting your length that you want it to be. About 6 inches is what we were looking for. You will want to end on the wrong side, so you'll want to finish on a purl row. And that's just because our next stitch then would begin with this side, and we're going from stockinette to the basket weave stitch next month, and that way they stay on the same side of the scarf.